God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Dear viewers, today we are really blessed to have Major Malavadan. Sir, thank you for accepting for this short interview, and I really appreciate for your acceptance and for your availability. Can you please introduce yourself to the viewers so that their curiosity level will come down?
Thank you, Father. I am Major General Jose Manavalan. I am commissioned into the Indian Army in the Corps of Engineers, and I joined the National Defence Academy after school in 1967 and retired in 2007 after 38 years of service. I enjoyed every year of my service, and I'm glad to have worked in an honorable profession and now able to give back to society. I grew up in different cities of our country. I was born in Jalandhar and traveled all over the country with my father, who was a government officer. So I've seen many facets of our country. I have also studied in Chennai in Don Bosco School, the matriculation school at that time. And I was here for 4 years, after which I went to Bangalore and finished my school there. After school, I went to the pre-university in Pune, and that's where I saw the National Defence Academy and how the Army, they train young cadets to become men. I was enthused by that, and that's what motivated me to join the Army. After that, there was no looking back, and if you give me a chance tomorrow, I will join the NDA again. We were 5 siblings, and my sister was the eldest. She also married an Army officer, and all of my 5 siblings, we were very close. We were like a well tight-knit Catholic family, and all of us grew up supporting each other. I was away most of the time, away from my parents, so it was just moral support which I got, and when I came home every year for 2 months of leave was all the time that I got to know what's going on in my house. And otherwise, they were always supportive of whatever I did and encouraging me to do the best for my country.
Who was your real inspiration to take up this career?
To join the Army, the inspiration was my father. He himself was an officer from the Gurkhas. He left early because he wanted to join the defense government department, and he joined the defense lands and cantonments, and he was our role model for many of us in our family, and still today we revere him for what he taught us. We have a good system in the Army where the commanding officer of the regiment which you join, he becomes the father figure for you. So while in my early years my father was my father figure, when I joined the Army and when I joined 4 Engineer Regiment, the CO, the commanding officer, Colonel Das, was my first CO. He became my father figure, and till today I am in touch with his wife. He passed away recently, and till the time we are in uniform and when we leave service, he still remains that hallowed figure who taught you everything in the first 3 years of your life.
Could you please highlight the experience you had in your journey?
As I said, I was commissioned in December 1970, and within our first year, I was launched into war in Bangladesh, and we were, with 1 year of service, I was a platoon commander as a second lieutenant, and it was a great experience to see the Indian Army with its full potential liberating another country, and we were part of it. We did not realize it then that it was a historic moment for us to be part of that journey, and the trials and experiences we had during that war is fantastic. Nobody can experience such a thing unless he is in uniform and fighting a battle for his country.
How did you find your family encouragement in this beautiful journey?
Yes, we had very little time to worry about what my mother or father is thinking, because events were very fast and bullets were flying all over the place. We had no time to even make a phone call, because phone calls were non-existent at that time. All I could do was send an inland letter to my mother, which reached her after I went home on leave. So they never knew where I was and what I was doing, and they could only pray for us and leave the rest in the hands of God. In many, not one, in many situations, life has been threatening, life-threatening, and it could have been either way. I am very lucky to be sitting here to tell my story. There are so many who are not here with us. In my batch alone, we have about 25 officers who have lost their lives. They are not here today. And I am here lucky, because I'm lucky. We had life-threatening situations in not only during the war, even during our travel through various states. I can give you an example of J&K, where I have served 3 times. And in Srinagar was a militant-ridden state. Wherever we traveled, we were at risk. And many a time, I have been threatened. For example, I was the chief engineer of border roads in J&K. We maintained all the roads in J&K. And whenever we traveled through the state, we were without any arms or weapons. Like, for example, I was a brigadier, and whenever I had to travel on the highways, I didn't have a weapon because I didn't carry one. My work was engineering. I was supporting all the labor of the local state, and I was employing them to do the roads. So they left me without harming me. But anyone else in uniform, if he's traveling, they would automatically target him and take his life if they can. Those were very life-threatening moments. And every day when I left my home in Baramulla, I did not know whether I'm coming back home or not. So it was my luck that God protected me and kept me safe and was able to see to this day. We get a lot of opportunity in the army to give back to our country. When I was a brigadier in Bangalore, the tsunami took place in 2004 in our Tamil Nadu. And overnight on 26th, tsunami took place. On 27th morning at 7 o'clock, Brigadier Jose Manovalan with 120 men from MEG was in Cuddalore. And we were there to see whatever had happened. The collector had run away. There was no administration. We took charge along with the police and the civil administration who were there. And for 45 days, we were there to bring back normal life. We had experience and we had the engineering knowledge to put things back into control. So it's a great learning experience for anyone who joins the army. And we get opportunities when flood reliefs take place, earthquakes take place, tsunami takes place. The first resource is the army, which can deliver anything which the nation wants. The Indian Military Academy, they gave us a code of conduct. The army is a way of life. It's not a career option. It's a way of life. That's the way you're going to live your entire life because it's imbibed into you. And they taught us the Chetwood Code of Conduct, which is the safety, honor and welfare of your country come first, always and every time. The safety, honor and welfare of the men that you command come next. And the safety, honor and welfare of yourself and your family come last, always and every time. One thing everybody must know is that the armed forces is one place where you're commissioned by the president of the country. So the certificate which I get when I get commissioned is signed by the president. It's in no other profession are you appointed as a second lieutenant by the president of India. So when you join the Indian Army, your rank stays with you. Today I am a major general. Even if I am retired, by the constitution of our country, my rank stays with me. Nobody can take that away, which is not so in any other profession. So if you join the armed forces and you attain a rank, it is a rank which is bestowed on you by the President of India, and it's not an appointment which the CEO of a company holds, because today he holds it, tomorrow he doesn't. Whereas me, even till I die, I hold my rank, which is a great thing and a great motivator for me to continue to serve when I was serving in the army. Even now, I continue to do my bit in all the professions that I've joined after my army career.
Usually in any career, people always long for the promotion.
Yes.
So when you joined the army, did you set any level wherein you should reach that particular stage?
Yes, Father, good question. But I was a very happy-go-lucky person. I never worried about doing very well on whatever I was doing. I enjoyed working in whichever post I was posted. You have many people who are contesting. If I say posted from Madras to, that time Madras to Bangalore, they go and fight it and say, no, I can't move because of any reasons. But in my case, I went wherever I was sent. Whichever courses I went for, I enjoyed my life. And I found that the results came automatically. A Major General from my batch, just 8 of us, out of 400, just 8 of us became Major Generals. And out of those 8, only 4 became Lieutenant Generals, which is the next rank. And no one became a 4-star general. So that is the weeding which takes place in the army. But we are okay with it. If you get superseded at any particular time, it doesn't matter, you have done your bit, and the credo of the Chetwood motto always stays with us. My first posting after passing out from the Indian Military Academy was to Assam. From Assam, we went to Tripura to be indoctrinated for the war. From Tripura, we went into Bangladesh, that time East Pakistan. From East Pakistan, we came back to Assam and then went to Rajasthan. So in 1972, I was in Rajasthan. In 76, I was in Pune. After that, I went to Bareilly, Lucknow, Srinagar, Udhampur, and Arunachal Pradesh. So I've seen the length and breadth of our country, and it's only once that I was posted to Bangalore, and twice to Bangalore, and I enjoyed my tenure in Bangalore because it was our training center there, where we were able to train Jawans who joined the army. You can join the Indian Army as an officer at different levels. After 10+2, you can apply for the Services Selection Board and join the National Defence Academy. You can also join the Navy and the Air Force. All three are open to you after your 10+2. Whether you're a science optee or a non-science cadet, you can join the service by applying for the either of the entries which are there. There are websites. If you go to Google and search Join Indian Army, it will take you to the site where everything you want to know, at which point you want to enter, is available. You can apply online and they will screen your particulars and tell you whether you're eligible or not. And after that, you fill up the form and they will call you for the written exam. The written exam is very competitive. For 400 vacancies of NDA, there are maybe 15 lakh applications. So the ratio of passing is that much. So you can join the Indian Army after 10+2. You can join the Indian Army after your graduation. You can even join after MBBS and become a doctor in the army. In the 3 services of Army, Navy, Air Force, you have different branches. For example, me, I am an electrical engineer. And as an engineer, we are commissioned into the branch of the Corps of Engineers. What does the engineers do? we build bridges, we lay mines, we build roads, and we construct buildings. Now these are for the armed forces. When the army is going into unknown territory, the engineers build the road so that the army can advance, and when they reach a particular place, they need water. We provide the water, the engineers provide the water, and to defend themselves they have to lay minefields. The engineers lay the minefields, and to cross over the enemy obstacle system, you lay bridges. So similarly, like engineers, you have artillery. That's another branch. So if you join the artillery branch, you won't be coming to the border, you will be far behind, firing long range missiles and guns from 30-40 kilometers behind. So you're not firing with a gun or fighting with a militant, you are far behind fighting using a missile system. If you come to the electrical and mechanical engineers, then you have to know how to fire a gun, yes, but you're repairing vehicles, you're repairing tanks. So there are different branches. You even have a legal branch. You have the logistic corps where the army supplies food to the people in the front. Now they are also army personnel. They are not fighting the militants. They know how to fire. They can be physically fit, but they are only providing logistics to the troops who are ahead. So there are different branches in each, the Army, Navy and the Air Force. Each one is doing a different thing, and you can choose which branch you want to. For example, IT, if you are an IT specialist, you can join the Signals Corps. What does Signals do? They do communications throughout the army. And we have our own communication network in the army, which is highly encrypted and very highly technical. It's the best in the world. So that's the range which the armed forces offer you. All the medals I'm wearing are telling you where all I've served. And at the end of it, I was given the Ati Vishishta Seva medal by the President of India, and that recognized a distinguished service of 38 years. The army recognizes and gives you credit for each difficult service that you do in forward areas, in battle conditions, and it recognizes what your capabilities are and assesses you at each stage. So that way it is a wonderful journey which we have done, and I'm sure anyone who comes into the army after a great selection process, it's a wonderful career for anybody to do. And like I said, it's not a career, it's a way of life.
I'm really curious looking at your medals, sir. So many medals you have. Definitely few of the medals, when you were receiving it, emotionally you would have got melted. And maybe for the achievement you have received, or maybe someone made you to achieve that. Could you please highlight few of the medals?
Yes. All of you must be wondering what these medals are. What are these medals which we wear on our chest with so much of pride? These are medals which we earned in different theatres of operations. The first one that I have is the most important one. It is the Ati Vishishta Seva medal, which the President of India pinned me with in Rashtrapati Bhavan in 2008. The next one is the Eastern Star, which is the star medal we got for Bangladesh operations. The next one is again a Western Star, or the Purvi Star, Paschim Star, which we got for the operations in Western Theatre. Like that, each medal has its own significance depending on the number of years you have served in a particular theatre of operations or the area of operation that you worked in, and that medal signifies. So when you see a person with any kind of medal, it's very easy to identify where they have served. One of my colleagues, relations who taught management in the United States asked me when I was a brigadier, Brigadier, can you tell me, what do you do? You were commanding an engineer regiment, you were the CO of an engineer regiment. Tell me, what do you do? Give me one example. So I told her, she was a professor of management. I told her, my regiment, which consists of 1,000 men, can on one night lay a full track from place A to B, which is 12 kilometers long, in unknown territory, to take the army from where we are into unknown territory take them 12 kilometers, and once they reach there, to provide water and electricity to the troops who have gone forward. We do this in one night. Can you think of anywhere else that you do it? So she was shocked, you can do it in one night. I said, yes, that's what we are trained for. Every year we are training only for this. And along those 12 kilometers, there would be bridges. There would be minefields which the enemy has laid, which we have to clear. And yet we have to reach where the troops have reached before us and be able to lay the road so that the food can follow, water can follow. That's what we do. The main thing is discipline. We need discipline, not an army discipline, not to have a haircut or polish your shoes. No, we need discipline in our daily life. One of the most important things you will be surprised to know, Father, that I have learned is to make my own bed the first thing when I get up. Why is it important? When I get up, it's the first task that I do, besides saying my prayer in the morning. After that, the first thing I do is I make my bed. And if my bed is made smoothly, the sheets are laid tight, everything is laid properly as a bed should be laid, then it gives me purpose for the rest of the day. If I start my bed properly, my day goes smoothly. That's my philosophy. And I always see a person who gets out of the bed and doesn't make it, he cannot be successful. Because his first task which he has done in his daytime is not done properly. So that's our philosophy. That's what we should teach. That's what children need. Do you make your bed? So whenever children want to join the army, my question to them is, do you have it in you to join the army? Everyone can't join the army. If you have it in you, then you can join the army. Every Independence Day and Republic Day, the schools get together, put the flag up and salute the flag. And you sing the national anthem and go away. So I keep asking my children in our school, is that what we come here for? Is that what the flag means to you? So I explain to them, this flag means much, much more than just hoisting it and singing national anthem. You have to love the flag and whatever the flag stands for. So if you're saluting the flag, it means that you have to respect everything about the flag. The country, the traffic rules, the government rules. It means that you are part, that is being patriotic. Patriotic doesn't mean saluting. It means you're following all the rules and regulations that that flag stands for. I have advised children in my school, what do you understand by patriotism? Most of them haven't understood or grasped what it is. So I tell them, one thing you can do to be patriotic is to say to your dad and mom that I will get my own graduation seat myself. I don't want you or my mother to worry about it or pay for it. I will earn it myself. Now that can only come if you have a lot of confidence in what you are, that you have learned everything in the school well, and then you can become that person who says, I don't need anything, I will get what I want myself without paying for it. This is what I want to tell all children. You make your aim and work for it, you will get it.
What is the advice you want to give to the parents? Because you have been highlighting these are the things the children has to follow to get motivated to come up in life.
Yes.
In what way the parents should encourage the students? What is the role they have to play in the present?
Yes. We are finding a big gap in many families where the parents are not in tune with what's going on. And they are always worried about how many marks the child has got, the teacher is not teaching properly, and basically criticizing. What they are not understanding is that the children are there in school only for 5 to 6 hours. The rest of the 18 hours, they are with you, with the parents. So actually, the hat is on the parents' head to make the children do and perform as they want. They're only in school for 6-7 hours. Yes, you're paying fees for it, but then you are responsible for your child's education, and you have to be involved, whether it's in the lower grade or higher grade. You have to be supportive. If a child is not doing well, you have to encourage them. They will do it. The teachers will do what they have to do, but you also have to do what you have to do. I always quote to the children in my school, and they know this by heart, Naam, Namak, Nishan. It's in Hindi, but it has immense value, and it has guided my life. Naam means name, and the name of your family, your school, the organization you work for is very, very important. And you have to give importance to that which you are holding. That name is so important. The name of your school, the name of your father, the name of your organization, it's so important. The next is Namak. Namak is salt, salt of the earth. It's important that you owe allegiance or loyalty to the place that you're working, or the place where you're studying, or the place which you're part of. So you cannot criticize or dig holes in the same plate that you're eating. That is the significance of Namak. And the last is Nishan. Nishan is symbol. Symbol for the country is a flag. For the school, it's the school flag. So Naam, Namak, Nishan. Don't forget that.
So nice that you had a slogan in your life and you wanted your students to follow. Definitely those students who really getting a lot of inspiration from you, and they will never forget this slogan, and definitely they will pass on. So thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, Father.